castles are universally recognized as fascinating and frequently visited destinations. One might wonder why they are so irresistible. It could be the drama of the stories of those who inhabited them, whose presence still seems to resonate within the stone walls, emitting a dark energy that unconsciously fascinates us. Or perhaps it is the ancient legends, passed down through generations, and which, with the help of our imagination, take on strange and fantastic aspects. When most of the fiction and mythology is stripped away, what remains is a core of truth that cannot be overlooked. The challenge of unraveling these mysteries has engaged our ancestors and still intrigues us today. We can only hope that these enigmas will continue to fascinate future generations. Indeed, a clear answer to these questions might deprive these evocative castles of a part of their charm, which attracts and enchants us so deeply. Therefore, let the castles keep their secrets and continue to be shrouded in mystery. There is no doubt that some of the most suggestive castles are located in Europe. In these places, it almost seems that time has stopped, and the air is thick with adventure and emotion, as well as the often bitter fates of their previous inhabitants. Many feel uneasy in such places, except for ghost hunters, who feel at home here. If you are among those who love a thrill of fear, get ready. We have selected for you some of the most terrifying castles in Europe, which will make you shudder, but at the same time offer you a unique and fascinating experience. Number 1. Musham. Emerging imposingly from the Salzburg landscape, Musham, the third largest castle in the region, holds stories and legends dating back to the time of the Roman Empire. Originally a military outpost, in the 13th century, its fate changed and it became a castle, later earning the macabre nickname of Witch Castle. There was not a corner of this castle immune from the darkness that pervaded its history. From 1675 to 1689, its medieval walls witnessed horrible mass executions. There were over 130 victims, including, curiously, 100 men. It was a singular fact in an era when the accusation of witchcraft mainly targeted women. The victims, some no older than 10 years, others nearing 80, were hanged or burned at the stake after atrocious tortures. The echoes of those horrors still resonate in the depths of Musham. It is whispered that the souls of 100 innocents still wander, trapped among the stones of this castle. Even the keepers of the place confirm strange and unexplained phenomena. Often noises of creaking doors without reason or footsteps in empty rooms are perceived. Sometimes, there is a feeling that the souls of those who were executed still show themselves. A particularly touching legend tells of two lords of the castle in love with the same woman. Their love knew no compromises, and one day led to a tragic duel in the main courtyard. Both rivals and the poor girl, trying to stop the fight, lost their lives. Since that day, it is said that 3 incorporeal specters manifest in the courtyard, 2 dark and 1 light, destined to wander until they can find peace. Lastly, Musham is the protagonist of another unsettling story, that of werewolves. This legend, dating back to the 18th century, tells of terrifying creatures roaming the surrounding woods, their howling terrifying enough to drive anyone who hears it mad. It is said that 2 brothers made a pact with the devil, gaining the power to transform into werewolves. However, as the old adage goes, the devil is a trickster. The brothers were deceived and forced to remain forever in their bestial forms. Number 2. Leap Castle, Ireland. In the heart of Ireland, near the vibrant city of Cork, stands Leap Castle, a structure whose terrifying reputation has made it the scariest castle in the country. The exact time of its construction is shrouded in mystery, but the events that have taken place within its walls could provide enough material for at least a dozen horror films. The very foundations of the castle whisper stories of unrest and melancholy. The echo of a dark past resounds in the voices that claim its construction on an ancient cemetery of Celtic druids. The disturbed souls of these ancient priests would have cursed the place, initiating a chain of murders and appalling tales, each more terrible than the last. Among these, a particularly grim one, the unsettling bloodstain in the room known as Murder Hole, an indelible stain whose origin remains shrouded in mystery. The castle has been the stage for a succession of tyrants, each with a particular propensity to increase the count of victims tortured or killed in its torture rooms. These poor souls, it is believed, still haunt the castle, including the figure of a woman dressed in black with a dagger in hand, presumably brought to the castle against her will, and a pair of twin sisters, cited by some visitors, who would have met a tragic end in the 17th century. The creature that inspires the most terror among the shadows of this fortress is the Elemental, a monster half sheep, half man, with holes for eyes and a horrific smell of decay. According to local voices, this spirit was accidentally evoked during a seance. Because of this dark and gloomy past, the castle has been the subject of investigation by experts in paranormal phenomena, curious to understand the extent of the spiritual infestation of the place. Number 3. The majestic stronghold of Krzysztopor, located in Poland, is considered a sort of portal leading to a different temporal space. This ancient manor is situated in the south of Poland, in a small village near Jasht, and is listed among the most magnificent and vast in the entire European continent. The entire site is enveloped in an aura of mystery that attracts not only history enthusiasts, but primarily those who are fascinated by unresolved puzzles. The manor is permeated with a dark energy and a series of incomprehensible phenomena. It is said that there exists a sort of temporal passage leading to another dimension, and that, for centuries, people have vanished in that place. The castle was built at the behest of Count Krzysztof Ossoliński, who lived between 1587 and 1645 on the southeastern borders of the Polish kingdom. He was an astronomer and occultist, interested in any subject. Legend has it that the construction of the castle was driven by a seance in 1619, during which some young aristocrats would have evoked the spirit of the Polish king Bolesław the Brave, who would have revealed to them the exact point of the entrance to another dimension. The layout of the castle reproduces the shape of a pentagram. This structure is rich in unique details. The manor had 4 corner towers, each representing a season, 12 large halls symbolizing the months, 52 rooms for the weeks, and 366 windows for the days of the year, including leap years. The last window was bricked up and opened only in leap years. The walls of the manor form a 5-pointed star, on each of which rises a majestic bastion. Above the main entrance, there is a large cross and axe. There used to be an inscription, now disappeared, with the year 1631. The connection with the year 1631 remains a mystery. The foundation of the manor took place in 1627 and ended a year before the nobleman's disappearance. The entrance of the tower features the carved letter W, which, according to some theories, has a relationship with the Kabbalah and represents the eternal persistence of the place. During the construction of the bastion, bizarre incidents occurred. A total of 20 workers seemed to disappear into thin air. Their workmates reported that they had vanished suddenly. The fate of the castle proved tragic for its master. After the completion of the building, Duke Ossoliński secluded himself in his study in the catacombs, rarely emerging. Month after month, the Duke seemed more and more exhausted and pale. The following year, the Duke died under inexplicable circumstances. The command of the castle then passed to his son, but his ownership was short-lived. He disappeared exactly 4 years after his father. It remained unknown what was hidden in the underground rooms. People avoided such environments. Most of those who ventured there never returned. What is the power that lies in the depths of this sacred refuge of time? What causes the bizarre light manifestations that are still observed today above the ruins of the castle? We hope that one day at least part of the questions surrounding this enigmatic Polish building can be answered. Number 4. Glamis Castle in Scotland is shrouded in characteristic Scottish mist and is linked to enigmatic ghosts and chilling secrets. There are numerous spine-tingling tales about Scottish castles, but the most sinister myth belongs to Glamis. The most notorious spirit is believed to be Earl Berkeley. Legend has it that he wished to play cards one day, but it was a holy holiday and the game was forbidden. Berkeley couldn't persuade anyone to join, so he punished some servants and proclaimed that he would gladly play with the devil himself. Shortly after, a stranger knocked on the castle doors. The Earl retired to a room with him, and it was the last time he was seen. The same fate befell his guest. Local residents swear they hear nightly wails, and many have seen the ghost of the Earl, forced to play cards perpetually. The spirit of the Grey Lady dates back nearly 5 centuries, when Lady Jeanette Douglas died tragically at the stake, but the spectre of the Grey Lady continues to remind of her sad fate. The ghost of Jeanette manifests at Glamis in the castle chapel, or its immediate vicinity, where she has been spotted by numerous credible people, including Timothy Patrick, Earl of Cabot. The Grey Lady has been seen kneeling in the abandoned chapel before the altar in ceaseless prayer. The tour guide points out to visitors the spot where the Grey Spectre tends to sit. It is located at the last bench in the right corner. Among the lesser-known, but no less scary spirits of Glamis, is the ghost of a tongueless woman wandering around the castle. She has her mouth wide open and full of blood, and many witnesses believe she is the spirit of someone who saw or discovered something that should have remained hidden. The dark and sometimes bloody history of the castle seems to have left an indelible mark on the walls of Glamis. The paranormal phenomena observed here for centuries seem to have a solid foundation. Number 5. Frankenstein Castle, the cradle of the monster in Germany. An enigmatic German fortress believed to have played a crucial role in inspiring the genesis of the most famous monster. In this place, I observed students of heretical arts engrossed in constructing something. I witnessed strangely deformed human presences, then a mass of raw material and signs of emerging life. Thus, Shelley recalls her dream. However, if we delve into history, we discover that this dream may not have been the only source of inspiration for the author. Located in western Germany, near Darmstadt, stands Frankenstein Castle, wrapped in dark popular legends. In the 18th century, these walls housed the alchemist Johann Dippel, who worked tirelessly in his underground laboratory with the alleged goal of creating the elixir of immortality. And what could be more appropriate as a subject for his experiments than a corpse? Rumors ran among the locals about the disappearance of bodies from the nearby cemetery. Could Dippel perhaps be so bold as to steal these bodies as material for his research? Legends tell of an alchemist who dissected bodies in his dark basements, studied anatomy, weighed parts of the bodies, and incorporated them into his elixirs. The local population had great fear of Dippel, accusing him of heresy. The alchemist was even detained for a period. A violent explosion ended Dippel's experiments, destroying part of the castle and his laboratory. The story of this historical figure seems incredibly parallel to the character in the novel created by Mary Shelley. It is highly plausible that, during her journey in Switzerland, Shelley passed through Germany and may have visited the remains of this mysterious castle, listening to the local legends. Thus, inspired by Johann Dippel, who signed his name based on the name of his castle, Frankenstein, she created her Dr. Frankenstein. Number 6. The mysterious Dragsholm Castle, Denmark. Nestled in the heart of the Danish island of Zealand stands Dragsholm Castle, an ancient refuge for treacherous nobles. Here, its stony stairs and courtyards, tormented by a chilly northern wind, echo with the stories of haunting presences, including that of the spirit of the White Lady. According to legend, this ghost is the unfortunate daughter of the ancient lord of the castle, a man known for his severity. The forbidden love that the girl harbored for a man of humble origins provoked her father's wrath. Blinded by rage, he committed the atrocious act of cutting her throat and hiding her body by walling it up. During the castle's renovations in the 1930s, workers discovered a spectral testimony, a skeleton wrapped in tatters of a white dress. Even today, there are those who claim to see the White Lady wandering the castle, mourning her fate. Another spirit said to roam the walls of Dragsholm is that of the Earl of Bothwell, James Hepburn. This Scottish nobleman, the 4th Earl of Bothwell, was implicated in the murder of Lord Darnley, the second consort of the Scottish Queen Mary Stuart. It is suspected that Bothwell, eager to ascend the Scottish throne, had orchestrated the whole affair. Despite his ambitions, he ended up tragically in disgrace. After a revolt between Catholics and Protestants, the Queen was captured and Bothwell forced to flee Scotland. Arrested and confined to Dragsholm, Bothwell lived in inhumane conditions for a decade, chained to a post in a place steeped in excrement. This brutal treatment drove him to madness, and eventually to death at just 44 years old. When his body was later exhumed, the remains were found to be mummified. Many testify to having seen his ghost, riding a horse, crossing the courtyard of Dragsholm Castle. Number 7. Pama Castle, Slovenia. Known for its famous legend of a spectral knight, Jama in Slovenian represents the concept of a cave. Pama is the identifier for both the village and the imposing fortress, set in front of a majestic cavern. The first historical evidence of the castle dates back to 1274. According to German historical documents, the ancient lords of the manor were vassals of the bishops of Aquileia, figures of power in the feudal system. However, the castle's true fame was consolidated in the 15th century when it became the residence of Erasmus Luger, a knight-turned-outlaw. Erasmus was known for his ruthlessness, having tortured and killed hundreds of individuals in various parts of the castle. Numerous prisoners were thrown into a cave, located 70 meters below the Stronghold. The castle also housed a terrible torture chamber where the worst torments were perpetrated. This was located in the grotesque part of the castle, which hosted various torture instruments and a horrifying starvation chamber. Archaeologists maintain that the remains of unfortunate condemned individuals are still walled up in the castle. Mainly footsteps and strange noises are heard coming from the walls. When I have to walk through the castle every evening to check it, I refuse to stay there, confesses a local guide. She and many other keepers of the castle attribute these phenomena to the violent history of the manor. In addition to footsteps, mysterious voices can be heard whispering, occasional dull noises, and it is not unusual to notice shadows moving along the walls. Pama Castle consists of 2 sections, one facing the cave and the other carved into the rock itself. Between these lies the castle's courtyard. The manor has earned recognition in the Guinness World Records as the world's largest cave castle. Its grandeur does not fail to attract filmmakers. In fact, it was chosen as a set for the television series Game of Thrones and welcomed the crew of the Discovery Channel, visiting to investigate the alleged presence of ghosts. Number 8. Chillingham Castle, England. Welcome to the sinister Chillingham Castle, an ancient fortress in England with a history steeped in blood and terror. Among the numerous spectral sites scattered across the United Kingdom, the mysterious and terrifying aura of Chillingham makes it one of the most emblematic. Its dark origins date back to the 13th century, when it served as a bulwark for the incursions of the English army against the indomitable Scots. Notably, the famous King Edward Berpriord of England spent a period there in 1298 before achieving a victory over the rebellious Scots, led by the unforgettable William Wallace. The walls of this fortress today are imbued with legends and terrifying tales. In its bowels existed one of the most ruthless torture chambers in all of Europe, which saw the death, amid screams and torments, of dozens or perhaps hundreds of people. Moreover, nearby stands the park known as Killing Ground, where, according to legend, the executioner Jones practiced his cruel art even on the children of prisoners. Visitors to the castle often report sensing an unsettling presence, a negative energy, and sudden gusts of freezing cold in the depths of the basement and in some rooms. It is said that the souls of those who were tortured are condemned to wander restlessly among these ancient walls. One of the most well-known presences is that of the Blue Boy, or Radiant Boy, who has haunted a tower called the Pink Room for centuries. It is believed that this spirit belongs to a boy who was walled up alive, whose remains were discovered by workers during renovations in 1920. Another ghost is that of Lady Mary Berkeley, the former wife of the Duke of Grey. After the Duke betrayed and abandoned her with their child, it is claimed that her spirit still roams the corridors of the castle in an endless search for her unfaithful husband.